Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Increase your guest loyalty with Stash Hotel Rewards. Presenting today is Frank Drew, Director of Business Development at Stash. He'll speak for about 20 minutes, after which we'll have time set aside for a Q&A. Thanks everyone for attending, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Frank. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Gavin. I'm really happy to be here. Again, as Gavin mentioned, my name is Frank Drew, and I'm the Director of Business Development for Stash. And I've been fortunate to be with Stash for the last several years, although I've been in the hospitality industry for a little over 20 years. Stash is a wonderful, wonderful company, and we're glad to support your industry. Stash is the leading loyalty program for highly rated independent lodgings, and we have been since 2010. We're a points-based loyalty program, similar to something like Marriott Bonvoy, for instance. And you may be familiar with these points-based programs. They are the hallmark and the primary tool for loyalty of the major industry players. And we know for a fact that points drive business. And so Stash gives the independent operator, as this quote from one of our friends at Columbia Hospitality mentions, the opportunity to compete head-to-head with the chains and really have a compelling offering in terms of loyalty to the independent space. What's really powerful about Stash is the network effect. And chains can utilize and leverage a point-based program because they have lots of locations for their guests to stay. In a world where independent hotels can be islands, Stash creates a network, and it's a vehicle that those independents can leverage to draw guests from all over the country, really, and leverage that power of the 250 plus hotel partners that we have to drive people from hotel to hotel. Our program is simple. Our members stay at a partner hotel. They earn 5 points for every dollar on their booking, and then they can redeem those points to stay at any partner hotel for free. The hotels are really diverse. We're not just a downtown large boutique hotel network. We have all types of incredible partners. You can see we even have a shipping container hotel at the bottom, glamping properties, all the way to prototypical boutique type hotels. We even have 2-room bed and breakfasts as part of the program. What really ties all these hotels together as the common denominator are ratings. We do not look at a diamond rating or a set of amenities. So we're not necessarily just a luxury brand or a luxury network. Our partners do share the common trait, though, of doing an excellent job. And we really scour all of the ratings that are out there now to determine if a partner is doing an excellent job, so that our members, when they go stay at a Stash partner hotel, know that they're going to have an excellent experience, no matter what that hotel looks like. On the member side, we have 1.1 million members. All those people became members when they stayed at a partner hotel, so they're really qualified as potential guests for you. They're frequent travelers. They spend 38 nights a year in a hotel on average, and the top 20% actually spend 85 nights a year or more in a hotel. They're typically affluent, and they're very well educated. A third of them have master's degrees, in fact. All that demographic, I guess you could say, drives a really fabulous statistic, which is that a Stash guest, unlike an OTA guest, for instance, is not looking to shop necessarily on price. They're booking premium rooms, and they're really valuable guests. Stash member ADR is 25% higher than OTA bookings on average, and 14% higher than non-member direct bookings, in fact, on average. So these are really premium guests that you're going to love having stay with you. The core program of Stash offers a number of benefits, and in this presentation, I'm going to quickly walk through some of these primary benefits. driving direct bookings, attracting new guests, bringing your existing guests back as loyal, very loyal customers, competing with chains, winning more groups and meetings, and using information about your guests that we can provide to really go above and beyond to create relationship and loyalty with them. So these are the core competencies I'll talk about here. The first being driving direct bookings. You'll forgive me if this slide is a little campy. For those of you who do business with OTAs like Expedia and Booking, they're sort of the devil that we must do business with in many cases. But everybody hopes that they can lower their OTA share. And so Stash is here to help and be medicine for this poor fellow. And maybe you feel this way too sometimes. Really driving direct bookings and converting guests from OTAs is so important. And there are a number of ways we can do that. Giving your guests a reason to, or potential guests a reason to book direct is powerful. Many of our partners will offer a member rate as a way to do so. That's totally optional. As with pretty much everything in our program, the hotel is in control. So it's an optional thing to offer a member rate, but it might be a great way to get around parity agreements with OTAs, for instance. We know that the number one reason, statistically from many studies in the industry, that guests book direct is to earn points, in fact. So just by offering a program, it's a great reason to do for a guest to book direct. And we also offer a conversion tool so that a guest who stays with you as an OTA booking cannot earn points as an OTA guest, but if they come back as a direct booker and a Stash member, they can earn double points on their next stay. So we're really trying to equip you to drive direct bookings. Another way that this is happening these days is with metasearch, and I'm not an expert on metasearch, but it is becoming more important in our business. And Stash is a clearinghouse. We can actually present and offer and distribute competitive metasearch listings, both paid and unpaid, really at no cost to you, especially for the unpaid. So really, when you combine something like this with a member rate, for instance, it really allows you to compete against the OTAs who are out there trying to buy your guests from you before they actually book direct. So this is yet another way we can help drive direct bookings. Attracting new guests is really a fun part of what we do. That network effect is great. You can actually see reporting of what we call referring hotels, and those are hotels where people sign up originally and then travel around, and you'll get to see those origination points, and it's a fun thing. But it is difficult in some cases to attract new guests from this universe of travelers out there. And campy slide number 2, here is Where's Waldo. You probably have seen Where's Waldo pictures before, and the idea is, well, it's kind of hard to find where Waldo is if you don't know where to look for him. Stash always knows where your Waldos are. We are the de facto directory of affluent, frequent travelers who like to stay at independent hotels. So we are here to help remove all of the non-Waldos from this picture and let you reach them really for free. Attracting new guests with a network effect is fun, it's easy. This is an infographic that shows origination hotels for Stash members who then use Stash to book travel to go to Seattle in this case and stay at a fabulous partner hotel. The economic impact can be significant. However, not all of you are large hotels. As I mentioned, we have many properties and inns and lodgings of all descriptions that are very small. And so here's an example of a New Orleans inn that has 18 rooms. And you can see that last year they had 18 referring hotels, and Stash members booked 330 room nights, and it generated $90,000 in revenue for them. So this is an example of, no matter what the size of the property, Stash can send you guests that are going to be valuable and have an economic impact. And they only cost money if they're already Stash members to stay with you. And I'll go through the economics in more detail shortly here. Attracting new guests through our website is something we do well, and we work with our partner hotels and inns when they join to create a listing. We call it a microsite, but it's a listing on our booking engine, much like you would have a listing on Expedia. And we really try to use your voice or our voice with your information and create something very compelling to attract Stash members who are perusing our booking engine to want to stay with you and book with you. We use our marketing program and our email campaigns very significantly and heavily throughout the year, but we have a nice cadence so that we don't overwhelm people. We only make money when our members stay at partner hotels. So it costs you nothing to tap into these various communications that we send to our members all throughout the year, whether it be promotions to drive downtime, occupancy for you in the slow season, or new member announcements, all types of opportunities that we can leverage our marketing to drive bookings for you and attract new guests that way. New guests are great. Existing guests who come back a lot more are even better. And I will just tell you that Stash is truly the only loyalty program in the hotel industry that has had a comprehensive multi-year academic study done to prove its efficacy. And Cornell University several years ago conducted such a study and demonstrated statistically and irrefutably that Stash members over time, even if they are already loyal guests at a hotel, will stay 50% more a year after joining Stash. So there is huge dollar value and huge long-term effects of having these loyal guests stay with you just by joining Stash. Competing with chains, I won't belabor this. Many of you may not have a Hilton hotel around the corner from you. And it's not necessarily just about competing with the hotel next door. Having a loyalty program like Stash really lets you level the playing field for all the travelers who are looking for places to stay. Suddenly, you've got a program that not only competes, but beats the major chain programs. And for the right travelers for whom that's important, you now can tap into them and compete against them with, as they say in this quote, a brand agnostic loyalty program to create that network. So we're really a wonderful way to sort of lift up the industry and draw more guests out of these chain programs to stay with folks like you. Part of this effect of competing with chains is really about winning groups and meetings for some of you. If you happen to have meeting and event space, or you court groups, whether they be small weddings or all the way up to large conferences, points are a fabulous currency for attracting decision makers. One of the reasons the chains continue to use points-based programs so significantly is because points are that currency for them. They are trying to woo groups from each other by offering incentives through points to decision makers. And Stash can help our partners learn how to do this. And whether, as I said, it be for incentivizing a bride to a corporate travel agent, you can use points to award those points to anyone and really sweeten the deal for people who might bring very lucrative corporate or group business to you. So it's just a really great tool to have in your arsenal for your sales program. And that might even be L&R business with local industry to send their out-of-town guests to stay with you instead of the Hampton Inn. It's really a cool way to do that. So lastly, before I talk about the mechanics of the program, I will mention using data to surprise and delight. And I have that Elton John picture because one of our members had Elton John in their profile, and one of our partner hotels saw that, and their front desk had some time and printed up some Elton John pictures for the room. That fellow then posted all over social media about the experience. We're always looking for ways as hoteliers to create relationship and do the little touches that make someone who's a valuable guest really endeared to you. And Stash member profiles are a way to do that. probably close to half of our members have profiles like this. And so we'll send you this information before a guest stays, and you'll get to see that this person, for instance, likes peanut butter and chocolate sweets. So the difference between this not attractive hotel room and this hotel room is a box of peanut M&Ms. And it may not seem significant, but it might make a real difference in how that person feels about the property. You can use this information or not use this information as you wish, but it's just a nice way to get to know your guests a little bit better. All this being said, we really want to make measuring the impact of stash easy for you. We have a ton of great reporting. This is simply a snapshot, but you will never not know if stash is working for you. You'll understand the cost, where people are coming from, your return on investment, how much of the point stash is funding for folks who are staying with you the first time. There's all kinds of great data that we're going to give you to measure the impact of stash. So how does it work? Well, a member can earn points for booking on our booking engine and or by booking directly on your website. Many of our members will actually jump off of stashrewards.com once they learn about your property, spend more time on your website, get to know you there, and book with you there. If they're an existing member, they can book either place and earn points. So this is just a snapshot of our booking engine rates and inventory screen for a particular hotel, the Grove. And when someone goes to our booking engine, they'll be able to see if they want to book with money or with points and select from there to make their reservation. Because we have channel connectivity with ResNexus, that reservation, even if they make it on our booking engine instead of on your website, will show up in ResNexus just like any other reservation would. In this example, we'll use $200 as a room value. So let's say a member books a room with you for $200, and when they check out, we will then get a report that tells us we need to award that person 1,000 points. 5 points for every dollar spent times 200 equals 1,000 points. At the end of the month, we will then invoice the hotel for 8% of that stay. Now keep in mind that that's probably a higher than normal ADR stay, and this is a guess that you've got full information from. So that 8% is already a good deal relative to other channels like Expedia or Booking, which I'm sure you're paying probably 15+% for. Another fun fact, though, is that Stash covers the points or the cost of any new member when they sign up at your hotel. So if someone becomes a Stash member by virtue of staying with you, whether we get that information from a front desk interaction, through an email link, or through your website, we can always attribute back to an originating hotel where somebody signed up. And we will not charge the hotel for any points awarded to that guest for that first stay, no matter how long they stay. So what does this mean? It means that if you add up all of the nights that Stash members stay in hotels last year, the average cost to our partner hotels was just 4.8% of those members' stays. And again, comparing that with ADR lift and the value of those guests, it is incredible compared to the cost of a guest from almost any other channel. I will go as far as saying that if you're lucky enough to be part of, invited to join Stash, and you do business with OTAs, there is zero economic reason not to join Stash. It makes total sense. So we're proud of those economics, and it's really cost effective for the hotel. On the flip side of earning points is redeeming points. So if a Stash member accumulates enough points, they can, when they go to our booking engine, they'll see that they can use points or dollars, as I showed you on that initial slide of how it works. And the number of points they'll have to use will fluctuate with the dollar value of that room plus tax. So in this example, a $225 room with tax would equate to 22,500 points for this guest, this member. And when they make that booking, Stash will deduct the number of points from their account that it cost them. And in your ResNexus reservation that shows up on your system, you will see a credit card from Stash that you can charge at that time of booking for the full amount of the room plus tax. So our partner hotels love it when a member uses points to stay for free because the hotel always gets paid in full at the time of booking for that stay by Stash. Before I close out, I want to mention something that really has nothing to do with guests earning points or redeeming points. This is purely a perk for employees of hotels that opt into our employee rate program. This program is designed to offer $69 room rates to any employee or owner of the hotel that is opted into our program for an employee stay. And the hotels can set their own blackout dates. Obviously, this hotel in New Orleans on the bottom will not offer inventory for employee rate rooms during Mardi Gras. But we ask that those participating hotels during low seasons or when they know their occupancy will be low, make rooms available. And this is a great incentive to offer your employees, or if you're an owner who gets to go out and travel and visit other great independent hotels. It's something that the chains offer to their employees, and we're proud to be able to offer that. We have a little over 100 hotels now since September when we started this who are participating. So it's optional for any hotel, and blackout dates are controlled by the hotel, but it's a fun thing. All right, this is my last slide. We'll just close out by saying our onboarding, we try to make it as easy as possible. Our contracts are simple. We have a 1-year agreement with a 90-day rolling out. There's no fee to join. There are no hidden costs or membership fees. It's purely that percentage of a guest's existing guest stays. And we're really here to support you. We've got partner advocates. We're not bots at the end of a website. We have a real US-based support team. And we offer employee point incentives for signing people up, which I can talk more about. We offer free printed collateral. We're just really there to make sure that you are as successful as can be with the Stash program. So I will close out with that, and I really look forward to answering any questions you might have, and I thank you for joining me today on the webinar.
Thank you very much, Frank. Now I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how you can get set up with Stash Hotel Rewards from within your ResNexus account. So first you'll go to Settings, and then you'll navigate to your Direct Connect setting. You'll click Add Channel. From there, you'll be taken to our grid of marketing channels, and you'll select Add Channel for Stash Hotel Rewards. Then you'll be taken to the Stash Hotel Rewards page where you can see more about the connection. And as part of the setup process, you'll have to get in touch with Stash Hotel Rewards directly using this button. And once you've done that, you'll click the button on the left to connect with Stash Hotel Rewards. We'll get to the Q&A in just a moment, but I'd first like to say that if you enjoyed this webinar and would like to view any of our past webinars or register for upcoming ones, you can do so by going to resnexus.com. And when you scroll to the bottom, you'll find this webinar section. And if you click that button, you'll be taken to our entire library of past webinars, where you can view every one of them as well as register for upcoming ones. All right. With all that being said, it's now time for the Q&A portion of the webinar, so you can submit your questions in the questions field at this time, and we will get those answered for you as best we can in the order they appear.
We do have one question for you, Frank. This person just said, thank you, sounds great. I missed the contract terms. Did you say 1-year contracts?
Hi, yes. The answer is our agreement is for 1 year, and then anytime thereafter, you can submit a notice with a 90-day out thereafter. We do have a 1-year agreement because there's a fair amount of work done on the front end on our part to get your microsite set up and get the programming completed. And so there's this mutual investment that we want to make sure we've got a commitment for success between the parties for a year. There is no economic penalty, though. There's no teeth in our contract that says somebody owes somebody money if XYZ happens. But it is a 1-year agreement with a 90-day out thereafter.
Here's a question for you, Frank, about the origin of Stash Hotel Rewards. They ask, when was the company's inception? They saw something about 2010 in an article, but they just want to know when the company was founded.
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. The company launched in 2010, as you noted, and we were founded by a really fantastic, our current CEO, Jeff Lowe, who was the executive at Expedia, who created Expedia's original loyalty program. And Jeff left Expedia shortly before 2010 and decided to use technology to help against sort of the market forces of chainification and OTA pressures, to really give a tool to independents with this technology. So 2010 is the time, and Jeff, as I said, from Expedia, is the founder.
All right, we have a question. What would happen if a small hotel decided to close before the 1-year contract was completed?
That's a good question. We would wish you the best in life. There, but as I said, there's no economic penalty. Sometimes hotels will change hands, or they'll become part of a chain program, and of course, those are things that are outside of the scope of Stash and our importance. So, if there were market reasons why you had to exit the program, there's really no practical quote penalty for that happening.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have another question. Someone wants to know more about the states that are currently utilizing Stash and where can they find a map of kind of the properties that are associated.
Sure. So the best thing to do is to go to stashrewards.com, and there is a link at the top that says hotels. And on that link, you'll see a map, and you'll also see a listing of our partner properties. This is a good time for me to point something important out, which is that you may find other bookable hotels in a given market on Stash Rewards website that are not full partner hotels. And those hotels are clearly identified as non-partners. And instead of earning 5 points, a member can actually earn 1 point for booking there. We have no relationship with those hotels. We've just vetted them as highly rated independents. And this keeps our members in the program when they want to travel to a market that doesn't have an existing Stash partner where they can redeem points and earn 5 points. So it's really beneficial to our partners that we create an environment where our members can always have options in most cases, even if we don't have a full partner in a particular market. For instance, the Midwest, there's not a whole lot in those markets, with the exception of the major states. I should say things like South Dakota and Kansas. There's probably less hotel density there, although we're working on those markets. So if you go to our site and you search for hotels and you see hotels in a market, just keep that in mind that they may not be full partner hotels if you search for a particular city, but we do allow that pass through to a booking.com booking so that our members can stay within sort of the Stash ecosystem, which is great for our partners. Sorry, that was a sort of oblique answer.
No, that was great. And I've also linked the page with that map in the chat. So you can go ahead and click on that and you can see the map of Stash partner hotels. All right, if we have no other questions, I'll give it another 30 seconds or so. So if you have a question, now is the time. But in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you very much again, Frank Drew, for coming on. I think you did a fantastic job, and I think you gave a lot of value to our audience here.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I thank you all.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks everyone so much for attending, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.